Hi, everyone. I am so excited to be here with you today. I've been thinking about you all so much, and I know I don't know every single person that subscribes to The Truth Today or that watches Truth Talks. But when I say I've been thinking about all of you, it's really in relationship to, first of all, the people that I do know that give me feedback that I know are listening and watching and enjoying what we've been doing here, what I've been doing here, and also just the collective of you because I feel really connected to each of you. And when I come on here or when I write something for The Truth Today, I really am doing it from a place of wanting to be of service and wanting to share my truest self, but really feeling very connected to what is going on for so many people out there. And so today, first of all, I just wanted to say hi because it's been a while since I've done a Truth Talks episode. I've sort of played around with a few different formats and thought through, okay, how do I want to be talking to all of you? What are the different, ways that I want us to connect? And so last week, I actually shared a whole post about the different tiers that we have now at The Truth Today. We have our free subscribers, which so many of you are, and I'm so excited that you're here. And then we also have our Inner Circle members, which is our paid subscription for just $8 a month. You can get a lot of bonuses below each post. And I'm going to be sharing things like my favorite beauty products, my favorite books that I'm listening to, deeper dives into topics that we're actually discussing in the free section of the post, as well as prompts and things that you can be doing to go deeper on your journey. And so I'm going to put that right at the bottom of the Truth Tuesday posts. I was sort of splitting it up before, and I felt like it wasn't feeling right for me. So we're going to try it this way. And I also was doing the Truth Talks solo episodes as private episodes for the Truth Today Inner Circle. And I just felt like that wasn't working for me either. I want to talk to all of you. And if you want to go deeper, which I hope you do, then you can subscribe and upgrade to an Inner Circle membership. And then we also have founding members, which is really special because you actually get a one-on-one conversation with me. I go deep in a 60-minute session to sort of set you up for whatever journey you're on right now and support you with that. And you can upgrade to that as well. So that's a little bit of housekeeping, but I wanted to share that with you because I have essentially spent the last several months throughout the whole summer. I would say, honestly, since I got back from that retreat in April, if you've been here for a little while, you know that it was a huge catalyst for me. I really felt like something was definitely shook up within me and for sure very much unearthed within me. And I've sort of been going through a process of unearthing a lot of things. I mean, I feel like my whole life, but especially since starting my nervous system work a few years ago, there's just like constantly stuff that I'm looking at and really trying to understand and, put in its right place and things like that. But something about that retreat just took it to a different level. I think it was a physical, emotional group experience that was sort of undeniable in some ways. And it brought up things that I really was not expecting. So that sort of led me to a bit of a dark night of the soul summer. And I don't know if you're familiar with the dark night of the soul. It's essentially this sort of time in someone's life when they are really going through something that does feel dark, that feels hard or edgy or just complicated or why? Like, what is going on? Like that kind of vibe. And it sort of feels a bit relentless too. I think that that's like definitely a common feeling I've had when I've been through a dark night of the soul. And the reason why it's dark night of the soul is because it's really this understanding that you're going through that super edgy, tender, challenging time for your soul's benefit. It is not to punish you. It is not to, degrade you or diminish you or make you feel bad. It's really because you are here for something so much greater than your current experience. And the universe, God, energy, whatever you might want to call it, has to sort of put you through something in order for you to really get to the next place. And for me, I think what's been really clear is that I went through this whole thing with Chronicon. That's been such a huge part of my journey since 2018, even before I launched it, to launching it in 2019 and now, running it and running the foundation. There's just been a lot of changes. And I know I've talked about that a lot. We closed the Chronicon community app over the summer, which if you're an Inner Circle member, you saw that whole post about it. And I've been working on a huge project for the Chronicon Foundation, which has been really amazing. But there's been a lot of my own personal narratives, conversations, struggles, and identities really wrapped up in what I built with Chronicon. And so my dark night of the soul was sort of like, I've been looking at all this stuff and like going through all these layers and evaluating everything and just asking myself a lot of questions for years. I've been doing that, last probably 2 years. Really, since my myasthenia gravis got a lot better, I started to look at these other things outside of my health and the kind of crisis that I was in at the moment. And I just had to sort of be put through it a bit this summer to actually look at what it is that I really want and what it is that who I actually want to show up as in my life. And I can't say that I've figured it all out. I don't think that's what the dark night of the soul is about. I don't personally think, or in my experience, it's not been like you go through this and then all of a sudden you're, this fully polished diamond and nothing is going to bother you or nothing, or everything seems perfect now. I don't think that's how it works. That's not how it's been for me. But what it has been is it definitely feels like there was this period of time that was really challenging. I was really going through it. And now I have a lot more left, and I genuinely find myself deeply smiling so much because there's an understanding that I have about myself and about the moment that I'm in my own life that is coming with a lot of peace and a lot of strength. And so to me, that's what the dark night of the soul is. It's not about, as I said, like having it all figured out. It's more like, oh, you kind of integrate and bring these different like pieces that are sort of flying around. You feel confused and frustrated. And it's putting you through something so that you can kind of finally feel a bit of cohesiveness within yourself. And hopefully that starts to show up in your life. And I've definitely seen that already start to happen. And so in terms of, what that has meant for me, it's really been about me owning my truth and my voice in a deeper way than ever before. And sometimes I say stuff like that and I'm like, girl, how much more could you own your truth and your voice? I feel like I'm constantly being put to task to really just fully own all that I am, more and more and more. And as soon as I think I've reached a layer of like, now I've fully owned who I am, I'm just like, okay, here we go again. I have to own it more and I have to own it more and I have to own it more. And I think part of what was bothering me over the summer, as I actually had some conversations with some friends who were sort of reflecting that the person that I am to them in real life is just a lot bolder and a lot, I don't know what the word is. Like, I feel like fierce is so overused, but kind of edgier, in terms of my strength and my energy and like my, kind of ferociousness about things and just how clear I am and how passionate I am in my personal life and when I'm talking to them. And I'm like this with like my clients as well. I have clients through my Life Mastery Incubator, one-on-one clients. And even in the Chronicon community, when I did have group coaching there, I was very much like very loving, but very clear and very fierce in that way. But online, a lot of the time, and I feel like that's less in these Truth Talks episodes, but like on social media and just like in the way that I present myself sometimes, I try to soften a lot of that. And to be honest, a lot of it is very subconscious. Like I don't turn the camera on and then say, oh, I have to like soften so that I can be more palatable. I'm not thinking about that. But I do find that I turn the camera on and something happens to me in my wiring internally that switches how I show up. And so for a while, I beat myself up about it because I was like, I pride myself on being so genuine and so authentic. Like, what is this? How could this be? But again, it's not conscious. It's not something that I'm doing and like lying or, being fake or anything like that. It's more, I kind of think of it as like a survival mechanism I learned to wear and to practice and pick up when I need it. because it's how I was sort of trained in so many different ways to show up so that I would be loved, so that I would be accepted, so that I would survive, essentially, right? It sounds so dramatic to say so I would survive. But when you think about it from a nervous system perspective, your nervous system is wired to keep you safe and to keep you in survival, not to keep you in survival like you're in fight or flight, but like to make sure you survive. And so when I'm in certain situations, my nervous system does this thing that's like, this is what you need to do in order to make sure you're okay. And I used to do this in so many different areas of my life in different ways, but this particular way was really glaring for me over the summer. So I wanted to share that with you because I don't think I'm the only one that struggles with that. And maybe for you, it's not like going on social media. Maybe for you, it's like, oh, I notice like every time I'm with my in-laws, like I turn into this other version of myself and I'm not fully myself. And then what the other flip side of it is, when you notice this about yourself, you might also notice that there's some resentment there. Because I definitely noticed that, like with social media, I had such a negative experience and like connection or connotation with social media because I was annoyed I couldn't show up as myself. But who said I couldn't show up as myself? My system said that, right? So understanding these nuances, really looking at them, I spent so much time looking at all of this. And then the other thing I really focused on, which I'm going to do a whole separate video and a whole separate conversation about this, but I just want to sort of let you know a little bit more about what I looked at this summer, was really my connection and my relationship to financial abundance. And this is something I'm working on through the Chronicon Foundation. I really want to support folks who are chronically ill with financial literacy and having them feel empowered in such a massive way. Because I started to see, there's so many layers to this, but I started to see that personally and even in my community, right? Because we had so many people on scholarship, we had so many people who genuinely had a hard time paying for the $5 scholarship fee because they're on disability, they're working multiple jobs, they're really struggling. And honestly, the pain and the challenges that they're feeling with their body are so real, right? So it's like they're sort of stuck in this cycle of never having enough. And I'm personally really looking at the connection between the deficit we see in our health and in our bodies and the deficit we see with our finances and in our bank accounts. And I think especially as women, this is huge, and especially as a woman of color. I'm South Asian. Depending on the family of origin that you come from, depending on the conversations that you're having in your family of origin. And a lot of times these conversations are not even blatantly harmful. It's just like what's embedded in the conversation with women and money. Or I know for me, I got sick so young. There was sort of this underlying learned helplessness that happened that, again, like my family didn't do that on purpose. It was just sort of like the default because I was really sick. And there were truly times when I couldn't hold a job and I couldn't work or stand for a long period of time. So I just learned all of these different nuances around this conversation. And it's something that I'm so passionate about and I want to bring to our conversations more and more and more. Again, I'm going to do a whole other video and like really go deep into this a bit more, but that's sort of what I've been focusing on this summer. And I wanted to share a bit about that with you. I wanted to spend some time with you today. And one thing I would love is if you resonate with any of this, if it's, supports what you're kind of navigating on your own, or if you have questions about something that you're navigating, I'd love to hear from you in the comments. I know I say this every time, but they really do mean a lot to me. And even if you don't feel called to leave a comment, any person that pushes that heart button, that like button, really, I see you. Like, it's so meaningful. So please go ahead and do that if you liked this video. Share it with a friend if you feel like they might enjoy what we're doing here at The Truth Today. And I will see you next time, and I hope you enjoy the rest of your week. Bye, everybody.